An electrician, a carpenter, and a plumber are hired to work on a house. The electrician earns $30 per hour, the carpenter $28.50 per hour, and the plumber $34 per hour. The first day on the job, they worked a total of 21.5 hours and earned a total of $673. If the plumber worked 2 more hours than the carpenter did, how many hours did each work? The first step in the 5-step process of solving application problems is to familiarize yourself with the problem. We're going to let E equal the number of hours the electrician worked, and that electrician earns $30 per hour. We will let C equal the number of hours the carpenter worked, making $28.50 per hour, and let P equal the number of hours the plumber worked at $34 per hour. We know they worked a total of 21.5 hours for a total of $673. And we also are told the plumber worked 2 more hours than the carpenter. Well, we need to take all of this information and translate it into mathematics. That's the second step in the process, translate the words to math. Well, we know they worked a total of 21.5 hours. E, C, and P represent the number of hours worked, so we can say E plus C plus P equals 21.5. We also know that they earned a total of $673. And that means if we multiply how much they earned per hour times the number of hours, so 30 times E, plus 28.5 times C, plus 34 times P, that would have to total 673. Finally, we're told that the plumber worked 2 more hours than the carpenter. That would give us the equation P is equal to C plus 2. And let me make sure you think that's a C, not an E. Okay. We have a system of 3 equations. There are various ways to solve this, but it's set up, at least in my mind, it's set up that we can make substitutions for P here of C plus 2 and P here of C plus 2, and that will give us 2 equations with only the variables E and C in them. So let's write those equations. It would be E plus C, and now instead of P, we substitute C plus 2, and that's equal to 21.5. Let's do it for the second equation. We would have 30E plus 28.5C plus 34 times P, where P is now being substituted with C plus 2. And that would equal 673. Let's simplify each of these equations. Let me start with this one. We can combine the C's together and we can subtract 2 from each side. That would give us an equation E plus 2C is equal to 19.5. Simplifying this equation, we would have the 30E, we would have 28.5C plus 34C plus 68 equals 673. Well, we can simplify that further by combining these like terms. So we have 30E plus 62.5C, and also subtract 68 from both sides. That would give us 605 on the right-hand side. So the 2 equations we're now going to work with are those 2. So we want to work with these 2 equations. I would recommend that we eliminate the value or the variable E, and to do that we would have to multiply both sides of the first equation by negative 30. I'll write the result of the multiplication right below equation 2. So negative 30E minus 60C equals negative 585. We now combine those two equations together by addition. The E is eliminated. Here we have 2.5c, and that's equal to 20. Dividing both sides by 2.5 gives us a value of c of 8. Remember, c represents the number of hours that the carpenter worked. Well, remember we have the equation P is equal to c plus 2. The plumber worked 2 more hours than the carpenter. This would be 8 plus 2 for 10. So now we know the plumber worked 10 hours. We also now can find the number of hours the electrician worked by taking the first equation, E plus C plus P is equal to 21.5. We know the value of C is 8 and P is 10, so we have E plus 8 plus 10 equals 21.5. This is 18, which we subtract from both sides, and we find the electrician worked 3.5 hours. I've already checked this answer, which is the fourth step in the process. That's the step you do after you solve it. And this is correct, so we now write out the solution. The electrician worked 3.5 hours. The plumber 10 hours, and the carpenter 8 hours. And I forgot my hours here. Let me just stick that in. So there we have our answer.